What is up, nation? Today let's talk about Zelda Phantom Hourglass and why there is now rumors suggesting that this title may be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Alright everyone, so today we're talking about Zelda Phantom Hourglass, and that is a game that I did not expect to be covering anytime soon here on the channel, but the reason we're talking about it today is simply because there is a ton of rumors that are circulating online suggesting that Nintendo may be planning to do something with this title for this Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary, which as we all know is this month in February. So I want to talk through the reasons that that's circulating around online, and then just also my personal speculation on if we do think we will see Nintendo do anything with this game. Now, before we do hop into all the details today, I just want to quickly invite you all to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy the content today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming and console news as we're in the new generation of gaming. But with that, guys, let's dive into the details. So I've made a few different videos here on the channel suggesting what I think we will see from Nintendo to celebrate Zelda's 35th anniversary, as obviously that is happening in the month of February. I do think that they had a lot planned, and we probably would know more at this point in this month if it wasn't for the whole 2020 pandemic and the pandemic that we are still going through currently. But I do think we are around the corner from getting some official announcements soon, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're about a month or two away from a Zelda Direct, a Zelda Focus Direct that actually outlines a few different games similar to what we saw with Mario's 35th Direct celebration. So I think we're not too far away from that. The reason we're talking about Phantom Hourglass today is that there has been an official trademark renewal that has been released online, and obviously that is going to get fans talking about maybe this being one of the titles that we can expect for the Zelda 35th anniversary collection, or whichever games we will see Nintendo focus on. Now, I do have a personal speculation about this. I do want to say a big disclaimer that a trademark renewal obviously does not mean that Nintendo is for sure working on this game or planning on releasing it anytime soon in the future. So it could this all could just be very easily speculation, and they just needed to renew this to be able to sell future merch or do different deals and things that they have to do legally. It could very simply be that, but the timing of this trademark release does kind of have some fans talking about if we were to see this come to the Switch, how would it work and what would it be, you know, how would it be packaged, right? So there's one of two ways that I could see them kind of going with this, and the first one is one that I think would be very cool, but I do think it would be very generous from Nintendo at the same time, and that would be like a Hero of the Wind collection, you know, because if we went that direction, we're talking about Zelda Wind Waker, which is heavily rumored to be coming to the Switch in 2021, and that is simply because the Wii U HD remaster has already been done, and it will be a super simple port to bring over to the Switch. Now, the direct sequel to the Wind Waker is Phantom Hourglass. Now, you also have Spirit Tracks in the same timeline as a direct sequel to Phantom Hourglass, so it's totally possible that if Nintendo was going to release two of those games, they might as well work on Spirit Tracks as well and release all three in a Hero of the Wind collection. Now, again, we don't typically see Nintendo give us all that value in one particular $60 game, but we did see them go ahead and release Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy, which were really just, you know, revised touch-ups of the original games and more emulated versions of those games. They were not very much remastered or what you could consider to be a full-on remaster or remake by any means, but we did see touched-up visuals, and we saw them three different mainline Mario games packaged together in one $60 cartridge. So let's assume they are planning something similar for The Legend of Zelda. I do think it would be something that would be very cool to see these three released on the same cartridge as far as the Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks. Spirit Tracks has not been trademarked recently, to my knowledge, by any means, but it would be a game that it would be silly to just leave out. But then again, they did leave out Mario Galaxy 2 on the Switch collection for the Mario 35th anniversary, so there's no telling if maybe they just don't acknowledge Spirit Tracks. But I think seeing the Phantom Hourglass in the news is very interesting. My big question about how they make this work, though, is that the Phantom Hourglass was very much a gimmick type game in the sense that they wanted you to rely fully on touch controls, and while that made some very exciting puzzles and some different type of gameplay mechanics than what we typically see in Zelda games, it is also very hard to translate that to a Nintendo Switch, where it is always designed to be playable on the TV or in handheld mode, and we will not see Nintendo, in my opinion, release any exclusive games. Like, you could argue argue that it's for the Switch Lite only or for the Switch in handheld mode only. I think their whole strategy is to make every game work across the family of all of their systems. So then that raises the question at this point, what would they do for the touch controls on the Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass if they were to port it to the Switch? Well, that's anybody's guess. They are either going to have to rework the puzzles and the dungeons and make it doable with, say, either a Joy-Con or maybe kind of similar to what we saw with Mario Galaxy, where you could use the analog trigger or something to go ahead and control the touchscreen and maybe kind of do that. But I just feel like that doesn't translate as well for a game that was fully designed around touch on the DS. So I think they really have to rework a lot of the details of the game, which I will quite transparently be surprised if we do see them go through all that effort. But at the same time, you know, they could, if Nintendo's Nintendo, you never know, they might be planning a controller that has a touchscreen built in, and then they could port it to the Switch that way. Because we actually saw, a lot of people forget, and I almost forgot too until I was doing the research for this video, we saw Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks both come to the Wii U, and they played very well on there because you had a touchscreen controller that was compatible with the Wii U. I think it would be really cool if Nintendo did come out with a certain accessory like that allows you to do touchscreen games on the Switch, and then maybe we see like the Virtual Console, you know, library come back for some DS games, or even just remasters that would be available to play. But I do think that's asking a lot from Nintendo, and we have no indication that they're working on anything like that. But I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on what you think we will see from this. Do you think this is just simply a trademark thing and it's not something that will actually happen, or maybe Nintendo is planning for a way to make this game playable on the Nintendo Switch as opposed to, you know, the heavy touchscreen controls that we see with the DS line? With all things considered though, there's really no telling on what they're planning. I think the other way they could go as far as releasing this game would be more of a Phantom Hourglass just focused standalone title, kind of like what we saw with Link's Awakening. And I do think they could justify a $60 price point for this game. I mean, if we paid $60 happily for Link's Awakening, which was originally a Game Boy game way back in the day, and they just retouched it up with new visuals, literally didn't change much, added in a few features here and there, but since it was reworked from the ground up, people were happy to go ahead and spend that $60 on a Zelda classic. I think they absolutely could just go that same route with Phantom Hourglass. So while I would love to see a Hero of the Wind collection, I think if Nintendo is working on something with Phantom Hourglass, it is far more likely to be a from the ground up remaster or remake, and I think they have to change so many of the controls to really make it work on the docked console mode for the Nintendo Switch. But we will continue to monitor the situation as we get maybe more leaks or suggestions of this either happening or not happening online. I still personally predict that we will most likely see Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD released in the year of 2021, and hopefully both announced at the 2021 Zelda Focus Direct. But until we get anything official, everything is just speculation at this point. And then keep in mind with the trademarks, they are trademarking like 17 other games that are just on this list of giant things that they're doing. So while I would love to see something done with Phantom Hourglass, this is not necessarily the strongest indication that shows that they are planning on releasing this game. But I'm really curious to know how they will handle this if they do go forward with Phantom Hourglass at some point on the Switch. And I also hope they do come up with some kind of way to basically allow all of those amazing 3DS games to not just die on that platform, because it was such a unique control scheme that I think a lot of games will just get stuck there if you can't figure out how to make a touchscreen, you know, controls translate over to a console. So let's hope at some point in time we either see that touchscreen controller released so we can do some Virtual Console DS games, or at least see remasters that are playable on the Nintendo Switch. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all to leave me a comment and share with me your thoughts on what you would like to see from Zelda's 35th collection. And also if you think that this Phantom Hourglass trademark means anything and it is a leak, or if it was just simply Nintendo renewing one of their franchises and it probably doesn't mean anything other than that. And then before we do end the video, guys, I just want to quickly invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below. Hit the like button on your way out on this video if you enjoyed the content today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming and console news as we're in the new generation of gaming. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.